right? So here, what I'm telling you by asking all these questions is awareness. The first step of change is awareness. Any change. There's 5 steps that I identified. The first step is awareness. Are you aware of what you're doing, how you're doing it, if you're doing it well or not? Are you aware of what you're doing not so good, not so well that you should stop doing? Or are you doing something well that you should do more? Or you start to do something that you should do, but you haven't been doing yet? Awareness. First step of change. The second step of change is accepting. Accepting those differences. Accepting that you are who you are and they are who they are. Accepting the situation, accepting that you are doing certain things and you're not doing other things. So that's very important. So in that sense, when we touch to cross-cultural and culture, and if you want to help people to perform that change, moving from your safe zone, comfort zone, your own culture to a new culture, then you have to create awareness. Awareness of what you've been doing right now, and awareness of how people are doing things in the place where you're going to, or you're going to be interacting with people. So it's very important. That awareness is intrinsic into the change, into the process. So if I'm giving a training on cross-cultural, and if I just give, information, passing on the knowledge to the person, is not assured. I will not be so impactful in creating that awareness and creating that change. So I need it, and so it is something I realized very quickly when I was doing my job. When I started 10 years ago, I started just by following, the manual, the information that I had, and doing it quite academically. But very quickly, I started to input also my own experience as an expat, and also my personal experience working, living in Vietnam with the people I was teaching you. And naturally, I had to integrate the coaching side into my work. It was clearly for me that training was not enough. Information is not enough to convince people to create that awareness and to convince people that you need to adapt to the new environment, the new cultural conditions. And I started to do that naturally. And what happened during that process is that I'm working with many training companies, international training companies in that field. And what happened is that these training companies started also to be aware of that and integrate that into their offer, their training offer, and their methodology. And in fact, when they asked me, when they trained us to do that into our delivery, I was already prepared because I've been doing that already for years. Because for me, it was the obvious way to create that awareness and help people to transfer from one status to the next status, to one culture, and adapt to the new culture. So that would be my introduction to the subject. Now, I will introduce myself. And what I want you to do is to listen to my introduction. This is the introduction I use in the opening of my training coachings. And I will ask you a few questions about it. Okay, you ready? So I was born in Saigon. And you see, I'm French. My accent is very French. My name is very French, Christian Routin. But I'm not completely French. In fact, I'm half French. I'm a quarter Vietnamese and a quarter Italian. I had a Sicilian grandmother and a Vietnamese grandmother. And I was born in Saigon, where I was raised by my Vietnamese family. So my first culture is Vietnamese. My first language is Vietnamese. And I lived here until I was 9. And in April 75, so what happened in April 75 in Saigon? The 30th of April.
The Americans left.
Exactly. So they left a bit before, but the last Americans left, and it was the end of the American War. And just before, on the 24th, I took the last commercial flight out of the country from Tan Son Nhut Airport to Charles de Gaulle Airport. And when I moved to France, I was 9. So you can imagine that it's very different. So I had to adapt to that new country. So my second culture is French, second language as well. And at home, it was Vietnam because I was still living with my Vietnamese family, but outside it was France. I studied there. I got 2 masters. I was 23. It was 1990. And my first job was in Hanoi. So I flew back to my country for the first time in 1992, 2 years working at the French embassy as a linguistic attaché, helping people to improve their French. After these 2 years, I came back to Paris, to France, and I stayed there for a few years, but I wasn't so comfortable with the culture. Now, there was some cultural clash between the Vietnamese side and the French side. I was sitting between 2 seats and wasn't very comfortable. So I decided to move in and out to other countries, 9 other countries, Europe and Asia, until I decided in 2009 to come back to Saigon. So it was another Vietnam. So I knew Vietnam before 75, 1982, very communist country, very poor country, a very isolated country. And then 2009, then a new country again, opening up, new market economy, changing, developing. First, I was teaching a bit of French and English for 3 months, and then I had a full-time job as a recruitment manager for Navigos Group, which is a very famous local recruitment company. And I had a team of 8 Vietnamese. And very quickly, when I started to do that job, I realized something. First, the expats in my company, but also very quickly outside my company, I noticed that they were struggling with Vietnamese working culture. Like everyone was complaining, you know, oh, Vietnamese, why they're doing this and they do that. And it was very negative, what I heard around. First lesson, while for me, it was quite natural, instinctive, and I was very quickly successful with my team. So there was a clash there. Why I am so comfortable where everyone is struggling. Second lesson I learned very quickly is that I had to develop my people. I had to spend 1/3 of my time to develop their soft skills in general or their knowledge in general to make them more performant. So when I moved out from that company, I was thinking, what can I do with my experience? So more than 30 years of experience in business management, education, hospitality, use that to help Vietnam, to help expats to develop their skills to be more successful. So I moved into the cross-cultural field, soft skills, and also happiness, because I was very happy to come back to Vietnam. So I help expats to understand Vietnamese, and I help Vietnamese to understand expats. I help Vietnamese to develop their soft skills when working for international companies, and happiness, everyone to be more happy. So that's what I'm doing now. Everything that Guy was telling you, all these functions. And this is how I introduce myself. Now, my question to you is, from your point of view, from your cultural point of view, how my presentation looks to you. Is it something familiar? Is it comfortable to hear what I'm saying? Or is it something strange and awkward? Tell me. Anyone can jump in. So from only horizon and cultural background. What do you think about my presentation? Tell me.
Yeah, quite complicated.
Yes.
Cross-culture in one organization. Variety of experiences.
Yes.
Perception about Vietnamese people before
Yes.
1975 and after that. Something like a cultural shock.
Yes.
When first time you were in Vietnam and next time you came back Vietnam, just like kind of culture shock.
Yes. Very good. Very good. So you feel that there's an element of culture in it, right? Now, I would precise my question. If you are from the Western culture, do you think that my presentation is professional or unprofessional?
I wouldn't say professional or unprofessional, but it's very personal. And I think in the Western world, you would be much more focused on I did this as a job and I that as a job and I achieved this and I achieved so.
Very good. Excellent remark. That's correct. From the Western point of view, you know, we're focusing on transactional. We are focusing on results, on objectives and delivery, right? And the personal side is something awkward when we are in a professional context. It's out of place because we're just focusing on the work, right? Now, from the Asian point of view, what do you think about my presentation? So we have Asians, I guess, in a group here. So it would be interesting to hear the feedback.
It's very personal.
Personal. Absolutely. Yeah. Very clear. I focus and I make sure that I present the personal side. Now, one last thing I'm going to ask you. If I am in the Asian cultural context and I'm presenting myself in the business context, Asian cultural business context, there's two elements I forgot to mention about myself in that presentation. What are they? So if I have to be more personal even, what would I give? Two additional information that I expected from my Asian counterparts in my presentation.
About your family.
Yeah, family.
Family, very good. My family status. So I am not married. I have a Vietnamese girlfriend and have a son who is 10 years old, and his name is Jules, and his Vietnamese name is Minh Khoi, which means bright and intelligent, which puts a lot of pressure on him, but that's her mother choice. Second information about myself that I omitted in the Asian context. What is it?
Preferences of places that you like in Vietnam, the food, or, you know.
I could explain even more, but it would be very long as a presentation.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, you know. Yeah.
Very good point. It is something I can expand after my presentation within the first minutes of interaction, conversation with my counterpart. Very good. But there's a second very important information an Asian needs to hear from me in that context, in that situation.
Sorry to say this, but maybe your religion or belief. I don't know.
No, it's not. It could be
Your
but it's
position.
Connection.
What about your
the title? The title. So I said that. I said that. In fact, I didn't detail it, but because Guy presented me, so coach. I'm a trainer, a speaker, etc. Yes, you're right. The position is very important because position is related to one cultural value. Family is a cultural value. Now I forgot to use another cultural value, which is very important in Asia when you work with people.
How about habits or interests?
Yes, that is very personal also, but even more important than that. That's good, but even more important that an Asian needs to know. So it should be easy. We have Asians here. Come on, guys.
Connection.
Connection, relationship I have, network I have. Yes, that's important, but even more important, this is a question they have in their mind. Sometimes they ask you, but sometimes they don't because you are from the West, so you will not understand that information.
Have you eaten yet?
Very good point. Food is very important in Asia. Food is love.
What you are passionate about, or your
Education.
Education is very important. Even more right now in that situation, age. I heard it. Very good. I don't know who said age, but you said something very, very important.
Yeah, but you said that you were 9 in 75 when you left Vietnam, so you gave it away.
Yeah, and you said that 1990 you were 23.
Ah, yeah. There you go.
You see, I get some hints. I give some hints so people can make the calculation eventually, indirectly, right? But it's even better if I give it. Why I should give these two very personal, I heard that word, very personal information you have to give about yourself. Why? Because right away, from the first second, you are in interaction with Asians, even in the business context, you need to develop personal relationship. Because Asians are relationship oriented. If you want to work with Asians, the prerequisite, the first step you need to build is personal relationship. Then only people will trust you, support you, share information with you, and do things with you, whatever you want to do with them. While us in the West, we're transactional and we don't need that. Or if we need it, it's going to be shallow relationship, again, a transactional relationship. All right. I need you, I connect to you because I need you to deliver what I need to deliver. So I need to go there. And these two information are related to two cultural values, which are very important in Asia, which are connected to hierarchy, which is connected to one of the strong roots, if not the strongest root of culture in Asia, which is Confucianism. The first one is family. Strongest cultural value in Asia, family. So if I want to know you, I need to know your family and your family status. That's why I give it. In the West, that's strange. I mean, you need anyone for business the first time you start to talk about your family, they're gonna think, oh, what is wrong with this guy? Second, respect of elders. We respect elders because elders, they have more power. Why do they have more power? Because they are older. And when you're older, you are wiser, you're more knowledgeable, and knowledge is power. That's why education is so important in Asia. So here, right away, knowing that, you are connecting to people and you're being efficient doing work. In a business context, you are being efficient because you're impacting the situation, because you're very quickly connecting to people, building up relationship, which will be used later on to deliver whatever you need to deliver with that person. You use two cultural values to your advantage. What does it mean? It means, in short, that the first minute of interaction that you have in any country, culture is hitting you, and is hitting you hard. Because let's say you are from the West, you move to Asia, you do business, you meet your counterpart for the first time, and you miss that step. You just get to business. Not personal, let's get to business. I don't need to share all this information. And then, okay, so when is the delivery? So what are you gonna do? And you are missing the point. You are being inefficient in what you are doing, thinking that you're doing what you should do. Because in your culture, this is a must do. Where in Asia, it's reverse. So it is terrible. What I'm telling you is terrible because you are thinking you're doing the right thing, like getting to the point, getting to business, down to business, while you are doing exactly the contrary of what you should do in that situation in Asia. What do you think about that? What are the reactions you have about this? It's true, not true?
Well, for some people, it can be very, very challenging. And if you're working maybe for a very large, very, very Western multinational, you may have been schooled and maybe their internal culture is to do something in a very Western way. And then you have to act in a very different way and you may not know how to do it. And even if you know how to do, if you've got some of your head office counterparts sitting alongside you, they look at you rather strange. So it's going to be hard to keep everybody happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Rick, you're right. Because here, let's complicate the situation. You have your Western boss close to you. You have your counterpart who is, let's say, Vietnamese. It's already complicated. Now, let's complicate things even more. You are in a situation where you have 4 or 5 people from 5 different cultures. That adds to the complexity of the challenge, clearly. All right? Now, I will get back to that point. Clearly here, what I'm telling you, if you're unaware of who you are as a cultural person, the way you're doing things, and the way the locals are doing things, you're in trouble. And the higher level you are, the bigger are the trouble, because the bigger are the mistakes you're going to make. They'll be much more costly, correct? Now, let's do a small exercise very quickly. Imagine this is your personal life, okay? This hand. And this is your professional life, this hand. Now, in a working context, in a professional context, show me how comfortable you are in bringing the two elements. Just show me. In your opinion, in Asia, how far it should be. Show me now in Asia, if you have to work in Asia with Asian people, how close it's going to be. So I would say in Africa also, in Latin America also, Central, Southern America, Southern Europe, Latin Europe, Middle East, how close it's going to be. So let's say Vietnam or Asia to be more specific. How close it should be if you want to be successful at work. Very good guy. Yes, Rick. Yes, everyone. It should be like this. That's how close you have to be with people at work, in business. Now, when I show this, what do I show? I show you that the personal is also personal. It's the same face of the same situation. Two faces of the same situation. So when you touch me as a person, you touch me as a professional. When you touch me as a professional, you touch me also as a person. That's what I'm telling you. There's no differences. And that introduced a new cultural value in Asia, which is a face-saving behavior. I have a public face. I have a social reputation. So if you touch me as a professional in a public place, you are touching also my personal reputation and face. That's what it means. And if you destroy my reputation in a social place, that's the worst thing you can do to me, because the most important thing I possess as an Asian is my social reputation. And if you do that to me, by giving me, for example, a very direct negative feedback in public, you make me lose face, I become your enemy. Behind your back, I will act against you, I will talk against you, I will rally people against you. So imagine you're from the West, you're very direct in communication, you give direct feedback because that's how we improve things, correct mistakes, and advance quickly on the issues. You do that without building up personal relationship with people. In your first meeting with your team, second meeting, third meeting, you start to, give that very direct, confrontational feedback, which are damaging people's face. In no time, you just step into your position. In 1 month, your whole team is your enemy. Now, good luck for the next 2 or 3 years of your position as a CEO in Asia. Good luck, because everyone now is rallying against you, and you don't even understand why. Because the next time you're going to meet your people, nobody's looking straight into your eyes. Nobody's answering your questions. If they have to answer, they're going to give the minimum information. It's going to be very distant and impersonal. And that's how it's going to be until the rest of your stay. So this is just one example of how culture can impact you.